Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. I've been meaning to do something like this for a little while now, and seeing how things have been going recently on the botting side of WoW Classic, I've decided now is the time. And that's the time for me to make an account on North America and get a first-hand look into how things are shaping up across the pond. So onto the new account I went and made a small army of devilishly good-looking gnomes. And a Tauren, they're okay too, I guess. I went through a range of servers across different regions, factions and server types as well, and landed on Aragul PvP Alliance for the Oceanic region, Herod PvP for Eastern NA, and finally Whitemane Alliance PvP for Western NA. And off to the auction house I set on my gnomes and Tauren to see what was up. I got a nice little run through Mulgore actually at 6 AM server time too. It was pretty sweet, would recommend. And whilst I'm on my way over there, I want to show you why I've decided to check this out now. I do keep an eye on things, and whilst there has been a resurgence of bots in EU, especially since around the start of August, it's nothing when compared to what's been happening in NA. Like, this is crazy how things have taken back off again. Check this out. For instance, the blue bar is the average market quantity on the auction house, yellow bar is the average gold value. This is for arcane crystals. And as you can see, Europe has remained very consistent overall, whereas in NA, yeah, quantity has gone up nearly 5 times over a 90-day period, and the price is near halved from about 75 gold down to the low 30s. It looks as though there's a bit of a turnaround recently though, so that's something. It's also important to know that the big ban wave of 74,000 accounts was just slightly off the data we have available here and took place on June 18th. And that really did flip the market around from the ever increasingly bad state it was in. On top of this, just the other day, Blizzard did a reassurance post, I guess, on this situation, mentioning that they're very much aware of this and to keep on reporting, which I am inclined to believe. I mean, after the 74,000 accounts were banned and the 30,000 later, which was about a week or so after, both of which were announced via Blizzard, it did improve things. It just feels like they don't have enough hands on deck to actually keep on top of the problem from consistently arising again and again. Interestingly enough though, Kaivax does specifically mention Dire Maul, a good source of arcane crystals, that place. Now, I know there are a number of arguments why arcanes have fallen off. They can be mined from obsidian inside AQ, there's just less demand this patch, how much more activity there's been in Silithus, in the hives, all of which makes sense until you realise this hasn't happened in EU at all. We have the proof right here. It's like trying to rationalise win rates in AV all over again. It's people hacking in some manner to get to the rich thorium veins at the end of Dire Maul East, almost for certain. And it looks as though there has been some extra hurdles put in place to make it more difficult to do this. Posts were popping up on the Classic WoW subreddit where people were claiming no rich thorium veins at the end of Dire Maul East jump runs. Speculation that there is either some kind of timer in place where they will spawn, or they will spawn when the cave opens at the end of the instance, which has 3 prerequisites in order to be done. You gotta defeat Zevrim Thornhoof, talk to Treebeard to get him to open the conservatory door, and get the last boss to 50% health. Unfortunately, I dropped mining on my lock because Bloodvine set bonus, but I do still have it on my paladin, so let's go get him over there and see if anything has changed. Now, I can tell you with 100% certainty, I have about 800 or so jump runs cleared across all my characters, that you used to be able to see rich thorium veins as you run through this tunnel with track minerals up. I have video footage of this too, see here for example. So on my paladin, I set off into a fresh Dire Maul East ID, up to Zev for a really scuffed first kill, talk to Tree, go through the gate, make sure track minerals is on, and moment of truth, and no rich thorium veins are being tracked. They aren't there. Can't see them at all, whereas I used to be able to. Am I about to get a 0 rich thorium vein run? I sure hope not. So down to the final boss now. Standard tactics, get him to 50% health, the cave nearby opens up and a loads of little imps run out, kill imps, reset boss, the usual. And after I've done that, I run up to the cave which is opened, and those little yellow dots appear on my mini-map. And this was around a 19 or 20 minute run, and that was only me doing the bare necessary to get to the end. No lashes, no herbing, and it was a really scuffed run. I hadn't done it in a while. And I don't think these spawn on a timer unless I had perfect timing, which I doubt. I think the rich thorium veins look as though they are linked to the same trigger that causes the imps to spawn, or something along that line. Basically, you have to have completed the bare minimum steps necessary as a legitimate player in order to have access to the rich thorium. I'm guessing the zero rich thorium vein runs were people live beta testing this fix, or outing themselves as hackers. Good change though, if it works how I think it does. Well done there, Blizzard. But back on over to the auction house. Yeah, we finally got there. If you remember, I started off like that. So I did the usual scans for items across these various servers, and I cannot believe some of the prices of these items. And I know these are some pretty big servers, so I bet some of you guys are going to see this and be like, yeah, tell me about it with the prices. But if you aren't on one of these servers, I mean, just get a load of this. Let's play The Price is Right on Azeroth. Would you like to buy some righteous orbs on Herod Horde? Have a little guess how much they are, considering the vendor price is 2 gold? That much, you reckon? Do you want to lower your guess at all? Well, if you said 4 gold, 99 silver, you were right. A righteous orb for 5 gold. What? These are the region averages. That's incredible. What else do we have here? Arcane crystals, we just spent a while talking about them. How much do you think I can get an arcane crystal for on Whitemane Alliance? They are still in demand these days. There's going to be plenty of people stocking up for tier 3 as well. But we saw the prices earlier. How much are they on this server, do you think? And I'd say this is definitely the most surprising out of all the items we're going to look at, by the way. Because if you said 27 gold, yes, 27 gold for one arcane crystal, you were right. Gee, I guess Alliance players on Whitemane just really like mining or something. How about some alchemy stuff though? Or at least items that are made from alchemy, in theory. Anyway, major mana potions and major health potions. Let's head over to Aragul Alliance and see some of the biggest bargains you can get on Azeroth. Now, considering a major health potion need 2 golden sansom, which are pretty cheap on any server, as well as 1 mountain silver sage, which are at a normal enough price, I would say, you would expect a major healing potion to be somewhere between 1 gold 20 to 1 gold 50, right? Do you want to have a guess how much they actually are? Well, if you said 20 silver, I'll repeat that, I can get a stack of major healing potions for 1 gold. That is literally just about double the vendor price. Then that's spot on. Well done. Let's have a similar little look at major mana potions now. Each one needs 3 dream foil and 2 ice cap, which are both already incredibly cheap on this server, by the way. But let's call it 50 silver per dream foil and about 30 per ice cap. So about 2 gold to 2 gold 20 in crafting materials, which is already really cheap, by the way. But how much are the potions themselves going to be? Well, it's not too out of order given the crafting costs on this server, but about 1 gold 90 for a major mana potion here. And as you can see from some charts on Nexus Hub as well, the average amount of major mana potions on the auction house are up across the board for an A. So at this point you might be saying, man, I wish my prices were that low on my server. That would be so nice. Well, not every item is so cheap. Back on Herod Horde again, what do you think 1 Plague Bloom will cost you? Keep in mind they only spawn in 3 different zones and are highly contested. How surprised would you be if I told you 1 Plague Bloom would cost you more than a major mana potion? Over 50% more? That's around 3 gold and 20 silver each. 10 gold mongoose and mage build potions, anyone? If we come back over to EU and I look on my regular server, Gehenna's, which has one of the most active endgame player bases in the world, especially when it comes to raiding, how are prices in comparison? A lot more reasonable overall, more around the mark where you would expect items to be. And looking over at Pyrewood Village PvE in Europe as well, which has the 2nd highest alliance population across EU and NA, only being beaten by Pagel, it's a very similar story. Arcane crystals are a little bit steep, but apart from that, nothing is overly out of there in terms of price. The proof is really in the prices when it comes down to this. One server having major manas not being moved for under 2 gold or righteous orbs being botted down to near vendor price compared to much more healthy looking economies elsewhere. Europe just is not getting hit nearly as hard by this current bot wave. I mean, even if these items do seem extremely cheap on these servers, it totally kills a lot of farming spots. Do you really see anyone running Diamall East to try and get 30 gold arcane crystals, trying to complete with crowds of botters in EPL for Plague Bloom, or considering Strat Live for 5 gold righteous orbs? Players are only left with the scraps of farming that bots haven't cracked the code for yet, like Scholarmance runs rezzing dark runes. even though I understand that's not as it used to be since the loot table rework, or joining GDKP runs to soak up some very, very dubiously acquired gold. Alternatively, you fall into the boost provider meta, where even then the supply seems to be outweighing the demand at this point because there are even botters in this boosting pool, but they're so easy to recognise. You'd have to be mad to buy a boost from an ungilded mage in bag gear with a randomised looking name who's constantly spamming. You're just asking for a bad time doing that. It's getting back to that point now where we were at pre that huge ban wave a while ago. Well, at least in NA it is. Why just NA though? Why isn't this happening to EU as well? I'm guessing it's as simple as more players, therefore more potential customers. It's by far the largest region. Well, I mean, I don't have the metrics for China, but they have a WoW token, hence every single botter moving on to the next best thing. You know, at an employee level at Blizzard, I think they're trying, but I bet it's a nightmare for them to stay on top of this because, like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't seem like Blizzard as a company wants to put the necessary resources up to combat the actual volume of botters piling into the game, which has us back at the stage we are currently at. That'll do for today's thoughts though. Hopefully we do see a nice big ban wave announcement sooner rather than later. Let me know how your server is looking and what region you're on. If you're on EU like me, this was probably crazy to look at. I bet it even was for many players on NA too. Anyways, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video regardless, and I will see you in the next one very soon. If you like what you see, do give the video a like and subscribe, as there will be plenty more to come. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.